I returned home with the fake mate certificate in hand, feeling hollow. A mate certificate was something every mated werewolf couple possessed, a symbol of legitimacy issued by the Werewolf Pack Council. It was the equivalent of a marriage certificate in human terms. But mine was a lie. I forced myself to hold it together as I approached the door to our house. Just as I was about to push it open, I heard Sam's voice inside, speaking with his beta. Alpha, it's been 5 years. Are you still not going to mark Echo? I froze where I stood. Even my breath stilled. A long silence stretched out before Sam's voice responded, low and steady. Not yet. Lily's alone in the White Moon Pack. She needs me as her support. Only then can she gain a foothold. The beta didn't hesitate to remind him. But Echo doesn't even have a proper mate certificate with you. If she ever finds out about the deception, she could leave anytime. Sam lowered his gaze. After a moment of contemplation, he replied, Lily gave birth to my daughter. I must do everything I can to protect her. As for Echo, she loves me too much to ever walk away. Besides, she broke with her birth pack just to marry me. She has nowhere else to go now. She can only stay by my side. The truth, stripped bare and bleeding, crashed down on me like a winter gale. I felt myself plunging into an icy abyss. My father had strongly opposed my relationship with Sam. Back then, Sam hadn't yet become an alpha, and in his eyes, that made him unworthy of an alpha's daughter. I defied my father, severed ties with my birth pack, and followed Sam to the White Moon Pack alone. And now that very sacrifice had become the chain he used to keep me bound. My thoughts spiraled, chaotic and wild. I didn't even see where my foot slipped. One moment I was standing, the next I crashed to the ground. A soft wind stirred, and in the blink of an eye, Sam appeared in front of me. He lifted me into his arms, cradling me gently, and carried me inside to the sofa. His movements were so careful, as if I were a delicate crystal he didn't dare break. Why are you so careless? Are you hurt anywhere? He fussed over my hands and feet, his voice tender, his eyes filled with worry. Not a trace of it seemed fake. For 5 whole years, I'd lived under his illusion, lulled by the careful lie he spun just for me. I suddenly grabbed his hand. Even now, I refused to believe the man who loved me so deeply could lie. Maybe the Werewolf Affairs Division had made a mistake. Maybe Sam truly didn't know. Clinging to the last thread of hope, I asked him, Sam, I lost our mate certificate. Should we get one reissued? There was a flicker of panic in his eyes, quickly masked by calm. He turned his head away, avoiding my gaze. Let the beta take care of that. You just focus on getting better. I shut my eyes, despair crashing over me like a wave. After a long pause, I nodded slowly. All right. A hint of unease flashed across Sam's face. Just as he opened his mouth, perhaps to explain, his phone rang that I looked up. The caller ID read, Lily. He quickly let go of me and snatched up the phone, offering only a rushed excuse as he moved toward the door. I'll tell the beta to handle the certificate. Something's come up with the pack. I need to take care of it. He picked up the call without waiting for a reply. Lily, don't worry, I'm on my way. At that same moment, I received a call from the pack orphanage. Echo, your mate mentioned wanting to adopt Kitty, but there's another couple interested in her now. Do you have time to come take a look? I gathered myself, put on a calm face, and drove to the orphanage. From a distance, I saw Sam already standing at the entrance. I hadn't even had the chance to approach when a figure darted out and threw herself into his arms. Sam, you're finally here. Please, save Kitty. I don't want her to be adopted by strangers. I don't want her calling someone else mom and dad. I stared, stunned, at the woman he gently soothed. It was Lily. Sam looked at Lily with unwavering certainty. Don't worry. I won't let anyone take our daughter away. They stood close, too close. Their intimacy was unguarded, natural, the kind that only real mates shared. And in that moment, I became nothing more than a trespasser in someone else's life that I didn't move until they disappeared inside. Then, slowly, I stepped out of the car and followed them up to the second floor, at the end of the corridor, just outside an office. A small crowd of staff had gathered. Their whispers, though hushed, sliced through the quiet like silver knives. Is that the pup Alpha Sam wants to adopt? She looks just like him. Of course she does. She's his biological daughter. I heard this was all part of the plan, pretending she's an orphan so she can return to his side as the rightful heir.
God.
Who's the mother? It can't be Echo, right? No way. Echo can't have children. I heard she was injured as a pup, something about permanent infertility. That's not it. I heard it was because of messy affairs when she was younger. Multiple abortions. Wrecked her chances. Why else would the Alpha go to all this trouble, pretending to adopt his own kid?
Exactly.
Lily is Sam's true love. I knew it since we were kids. Look at them, they're perfect together. Each word, each careless phrase, plunged deep into my chest, bleeding me dry. For 5 years, I had failed to bear Sam a pup. He always comforted me, told me it didn't matter, that having me was enough. Now I understood. He'd already made other plans. Plans that never included me. My legs gave out, and I leaned against the wall just to stay upright. Suddenly, the office door swung open. Sam stepped out, one arm wrapped around Kitty, the other holding Lily's hand. Our eyes met. Something flared in his gaze, panic. Hi, Echo, Lily said brightly, lifting her free hand in greeting. Long time no see. Sam dropped Lily's hand as though it burned him and rushed over to me. Echo, what are you doing here? His voice was quick, defensive. Don't overthink this. Lily works here as a guard. She watches over all the pups. I just happened to be here to discuss Kitty's adoption. He shifted Kitty in his arms, holding her out toward me as if she could somehow change the conversation. This is Kitty. Look adorable, isn't she? She's the most well-behaved pup in the whole orphanage. I nodded, brushing a hand along her cheek. She looks so much like you. If you hadn't said otherwise, I would have thought she was your own blood. But I could smell it. The scent of both Sam and Lily clung to her, deep in her skin, wrapped in her breath. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't ignore it. Sam opened his mouth, about to speak again, but Kitty suddenly burst into tears in his arms. I'll take her, Lily said, suddenly by his side. She reached out and scooped Kitty up effortlessly, holding her like she'd done it 100 times before. Kitty nestled into her chest, nuzzling for comfort, and murmured softly, Mommy. Sam went pale. His breath hitched, and I could smell the fear radiating off him. Don't misunderstand, he stammered. Lily works here. She's close to all the pups. They all call her Mommy. Once the adoption's finalized, I'll teach Kitty to call you something else. But the desperation in his voice only made the ache in my chest deepen. Was he afraid I'd be hurt? Then why lie to me? Why trap me in this false bond, pretending we were mates while he cast me aside for another woman and her pup? Why adopt a pup that isn't mine and leave me to face the judgment of every whispering voice and sideways glance? Don't worry, I didn't misunderstand. My voice was soft, calm even. You go handle the adoption paperwork. I'll wait for you in the car. Sam let out a visible breath of relief, his smile breaking free, like sunlight through fog. Be good and wait for me, all right? I'll be right back. I turned and walked toward the parking lot, the weight in my chest growing heavier with every step. I passed several members of the pack. They didn't bother lowering their voices.
Poor thing.
She has no idea. I heard the Alpha's been coming here nearly every day, always with Lily, and they've already registered as mates. Doesn't that make Echo the homewrecker? Their words clawed at my back like icy talons, but I didn't stop. I didn't flinch. I just reached for my phone with trembling fingers and sent a message to someone I hadn't contacted in years. Dad, I'm tired. I just want to go home. It wasn't long after I got home that my father called. Video, not just voiced. We hadn't seen each other in 5 years, and his hair was far more silver now than I remembered. Sweetheart, he said, voice tight with worry, has Sam been treating you badly? The knot in my throat broke. I tried to hold it together, but my tears betrayed me. I missed you so much, Dad. The fight that had driven us apart, the one where he shouted at me, Get out. You're no daughter of mine. Felt like a lifetime ago. And yet here he was still angry.
For me.
Still loving me, he sighed, long and weary, but his eyes were full of warmth and regret. No matter what's happened, this will always be your home. I'll send someone to pick you up tomorrow. After the call ended, I couldn't sleep. Guilt gnawed at me, keeping me wide-eyed into the night. Guilt for what I'd done to my family and for the decision I'd made all those years ago, leaving everything behind to follow Sam. By the time I came downstairs the next morning, Sam and Lily were already seated at the breakfast table with Kitty nestled between them. They looked perfect, a portrait of a happy family, and I was the smudge on that perfect picture, the intruder in their painted domestic bliss. Sam noticed me first. He sprang to his feet, guilt flashing across his face. Kitty just moved in. She's not used to the place yet, he explained quickly. Lily's only staying for a few days to help her settle. Kitty glanced at me, eyes wary. Then she turned and shouted, I want Mommy and Daddy to sleep with me every night. She clutched Sam's and Lily's hands, pulling them together like she was tying a knot. Lily gave me a look, a small, apologetic smile that didn't reach her eyes, and said sweetly, Sorry, Echo. Kitty has trouble sleeping in new places. But you're so understanding. You won't mind, right? Sam paled. His mouth opened, closed, then stayed that way. No defense came. A sharp, breathless pain stabbed through the numbness in my chest. Don't be nervous, I said, forcing a light tone. As I took my seat at the table. Of course I don't mind. She's just a pup. Being surrounded by familiar people helps her feel safe. Let's all have breakfast. Lily, ever gracious, picked up a slice of bread and offered it to me. I made this myself.
Try it.
I even added your favorite sweetgrass. She smiled and winked at me. Sam told me you liked it. You have to finish the whole thing. I took the bread. The moment it touched my fingers, I recognized the scent. It wasn't sweetgrass. It was something else entirely. I set the bread gently back on the plate, my voice trembling with restrained fury. I didn't know you liked to bake with wolfsbane. Lily's eyes filled with tears, her lower lip trembling. Echo, even if you don't like it, you don't have to accuse me like that. Sam's face darkened with disapproval. Lily got up early just to make that for you. Why would she poison you? Don't be unreasonable, Echo. I had just opened my mouth to explain when Kitty's high-pitched voice interrupted, demanding to go upstairs to watch her cartoons. Sam immediately set down his fork and knife. I'll take her up, he said, already rising from his seat. As soon as the sound of their footsteps faded and the door clicked shut behind them, Lily's tears vanished like smoke in the wind. She turned to me, a smirk curling on her lips, her tone sharp with mockery. 5 years playing the part of a fake mate, Echo. How does it feel? Oh, that's right. You didn't know, did you? Her eyes gleamed. Kitty's my
daughter.
The next instant, she was gone from her seat and standing inches from me, her presence sudden and oppressive. The mate certificate Sam and I have? That one's real, she hissed. If you have even a shred of shame left, you should leave, now. Stop clinging to something that was never yours. Before I could move, she grabbed a piece of bread from the table and shoved it against my lips. This is what a filthy little parasite like you deserves. Enjoy the wolfsbane. The bitterness hit my tongue like ash and acid. I gasped, my throat already swelling. Breath clawed at my chest but wouldn't come. I dropped to the floor, body heaving in desperate search for air. Lily's ears twitched. She'd heard something. With a swift, practiced motion, her right hand transformed into a claw, and she slashed her own chest. Crimson welled instantly, staining her pristine, white blouse. She collapsed to her knees with a shriek that echoed through the house. Echo, don't kill me. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have moved in. I'll leave, please. Just let me go. Lily. Sam's voice thundered from upstairs. He hit the ground floor in a blur, eyes wide with shock as he rushed to cradle Lily's bleeding form in his arms. What the hell, Echo? Have you lost your mind? His voice trembled with fury. Lily made you breakfast. She stayed to help with our daughter, and this is how you repay her? He didn't wait for an answer. When I get back, I want you to apologize. Properly. Lily sagged weakly against him, her head resting on his shoulder. Just before he turned to leave, she looked at me, eyes glistening with tears, mouth curved in a quiet, triumphant smile. Not once did Sam glance my way. I lay crumpled on the floor, my body burning from the inside out, lungs refusing to pull in air as the wolfsbane worked its way through me. Pain twisted through my stomach. Inside, my wolf howled. Somehow, I forced myself to my feet, staggered step by step to the bedroom. I fumbled for the antidote on the nightstand, down the vial in a single gulp. Slowly, the tightness in my throat began to ease. But relief never came. Not to my heart. Not to the place that had once believed in forever. I looked at Sam and I's wedding photo on the nightstand. I took down the frame, then opened the drawers. Every photo, every keepsake, the mate ring, the wolf fawn necklace, the foxhide satchel, the moonstone, the hand-carved tokens, all the memories he'd given me. I gathered them one by one and destroyed them all. Even the rose garden in the backyard, planted by Sam's own hands, I ripped it out, roots and all, and burned it. I didn't want any of it, not even him. Starting tomorrow, Sam would no longer exist in my life. The werewolves from my birth pack worked fast. That afternoon, my father's people arrived. I signed the withdrawal papers and packed what was left of me. I left the White Moon pack without looking back. In the hospital, Sam sat beside Lily's bed. He hadn't slept all night. His eyes were shadowed, his hands restless. Lily called his name over and over, but he didn't hear her. Sam, she said weakly, my chest still hurts. But don't blame Echo, she was just jealous of me being with you and Kitty. Before she could finish, a sharp knock rattled the door. His beta stood outside, breathless and panicked, and mind-linked with him immediately. Alpha, Echo's gone. She officially withdrew from White Moon this afternoon. She's disappeared. Sam's pova rush of blood surged to my head, and the world spun dizzy around me. I fumbled for my phone and called Echo, an O signal. Over and over. The call refused to go through. Panic clawed its way into my chest. I seized my beta by the collar. How did she leave? Find out. Use every contact we have. Track Echo down. But no matter how thoroughly we searched, it was as if she had vanished from the face of the earth. Back at the manor, I sank onto the couch, hollow and defeated. This was deliberate. She hadn't left in a moment of anger. She'd planned it.
Carefully.
Quietly. I shot to my feet and stormed into the master bedroom. Every trace of her was gone. Photos.
Clothes.
The gifts I'd given her over the years. All of it erased. I summoned a maid and pinned her with a glare so sharp it could draw blood. Where are her things? Why is everything gone? The poor maid trembled under the weight of an alpha's fury. Madam destroyed them all, she stammered. Even the rose garden in the backyard, she burned it. My pupils constricted to slits. I dropped the maid's arm and vanished in a blink, reappearing in the backyard. And there it was, charred earth, blackened stems. Not a single rose left alive. I stood frozen, staring at the remains. I had planted those roses myself, the day we became mates. My vow had been simple, spoken with her hand in mine. My love for you will bloom like these roses, fierce and forever burning. She had treasured that garden, spent hours tending to it, watering, pruning, nurturing every blossom. There were always fresh roses in our bedroom. Now it was gone. She had destroyed it with her own hands. Did she really mean to cast me aside? A terrible thought struck like lightning. What if she'd found out something? Something that made her leave without a word? Dread curled in my gut. I turned sharply to my beta. Check the mate certificate. How exactly did she lose it? And find out if she discovered anything. Even before he could move, my phone buzzed in my pocket. My heart leapt. I didn't even look at the screen. I answered with a shaky breath. Echo, is that you? Sam, said Lily's voice instead. My wound still hurts, and Kitty has a fever. Please come to the hospital. My face darkened. I'm busy. If you're sick, find a healer. Don't call me for this. I ended the call before she could say another word. Just then, my beta's voice came through the mind link. Alpha, I found something. Echo went to the Werewolf Affairs Division. She applied for a replacement mate certificate. My head roared. Rage flared through my veins like wildfire, my aura crashing outward in waves. She found out. I barked. Why didn't you know this earlier? She must have realized the certificate was fake. She must have been heartbroken. My beta paled under the pressure of my fury. You've already decided to sever the mate bond with Lily, haven't you? Once you and Echo re-register, you'll have the real certificate. I'm sure she'll see your sincerity. Then get on it immediately, I snapped. And find that moonstone necklace Echo always wanted. Make sure we win the auction. Once I found her, I'd bring the certificate, the gift, and apologize from the bottom of my soul. I'd make it right. Echo would forgive me. She had to. I'd win her back. I ordered the staff to replant the roses, but not just a garden this time. I wanted the entire courtyard filled with her favorite, moonlight roses. I sent people into the dark forest that very night to harvest the rare flowers. I even hired top gardeners at a steep price. It was only when everything was finally set in motion that I allowed myself to breathe again.